Okay, today we're going to find the percent of a number. So this is really what we were doing yesterday. You have to change your percent to a decimal, and then you multiply it by the number that they give you. So we have no vocabulary words for today. So I want you to go ahead and copy this down. Find 5% of 300. Okay, so we have to get rid of our percent first. So if you remember from yesterday, we do that. We have our decimal at the end here. So we do that by moving our decimal 2 places to the left. So we have to add a 0. So it's 0.05. And we need to multiply this by 300. 300 is larger, so I'm going to put it on top. And we just multiply. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. And 0 times 3 is 0. How many decimal places do I have? There's 1, 2. So my answer, 5% of 300 is 15. Okay, copy this one down. We're going to do the same thing here. Find 25% of 180. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left. So since there's no decimal in here, that means it's at the end. So move it 2 places to the left. So that is 0.25. We're going to multiply it by 180. 180 is longer, so I'm going to put it at the top. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. And 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So I add 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 6 is 15. And 3 plus 1 is 4. How many decimal places do I have? I have 2. 1, 2. So I'm going to have 2 here. So my answer will be 45. Okay, you're going to do the exact same thing with these 4. So go ahead and pause this and take a moment so you have enough time to write these down and solve them. Okay, so I want you to check your answers as we go over this. So 40% of 70, move my decimal 2 places to the left. So that's 0.4. Do I have to write the 0.40? You don't. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm going to multiply that by 70. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 7 is 28. I have 1 decimal place because I didn't write that 0. If you wrote the 0, then you're going to have 2 decimal places. So our answer for A is 28. For B, 15% of 100. So we move our decimal 2 places to the left. So that's 0.15. I'm going to multiply that by 100. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. How many decimal places do I have here? 1, 2. My answer for B should be 15. Okay, C, 55% of 160. So we move our decimal 2 places to the left. So that will be 0.55. I'm going to multiply that by 160. Put 160 on the top since it's longer. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. And we do the same thing again. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So when you add these together, how many decimal places do we have? There's 1, 2. So my answer is 88. And our last one, 75% of 280. So we move our decimals 2 places to the left. So that's 0.75. I'm going to multiply that by 280. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 5 is 19. So we add this together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 4 is 10. 9 plus 1 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. And 1 plus 1 is 2. How many decimal places do we have? 1, 2. It's not always going to be 2, so make sure you pay attention to that. So we have 2 here. So my answer, 75% of 280 is 210. Okay, we can do the exact same thing with percents that are greater than 100. So 150%, you still move your decimal 2 places to the left. So that gives us 1.5. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the percent is, you always move your decimal 2 places to the left. So copy this down. Find 120% of 75. Okay, so we move our decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So that gives me 1.20. Do I need to write this 0? Nope, I don't. Okay. So I can just write 1.2. So I'm going to multiply 1.2 times 75. Because they're the same length, it doesn't matter which one you put on top. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So I bring down my 0. 6 plus 4 is 10, and 8 plus 1 is 9. How many decimal places do I have? I got rid of that 0, so I just have the 1 decimal place. Make sure you look at those carefully. So 120% of 75 is 90. So if your percent is over 100, your answer is going to be larger than your original number. Okay, same thing here. Find 150% of 28. So we copy that down. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left. So that's 1.5. You could write the 0 if you want. Because it's on the right-hand side of the decimal and it's at the end of the number, you don't need to. I'm going to multiply this by 28. Again, our numbers are the same length. They're both 2 digits, so you could put whichever one you want on top. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 3 plus 1 is 4. How many decimal places do I have? I just have 1. So 150% of 28 is 42. Okay, so go ahead and pause this and take a moment to complete these two problems. Okay, 150% of 20. So I want you to check your answers as I go along this. So we move our decimal 2 places to the left. So that's 1.5. I'm going to multiply that by 20. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. How many decimal places do I have? There's 1. So 150% of 20 is 30. And 160% of 35. Move your decimal 2 places to the left. So that's 1.6. Multiply that by 35. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. I bring down my 0. 8 plus 8 is 16. And 4 plus 1 is 5. How many decimal places do I have? Just the one. So 160% of 35 is 56. Okay, so here's our last example. So go ahead and take a minute to copy this down, please. So pause this so you have enough time to copy it. Okay, so example 5 says, refer to the graph. If 275 students took the survey, how many can be expected to have 3 televisions each in their household? So, if there's 275 students, I'm going to multiply that by however many have, by my percentage that has 3 televisions. So there's the number of televisions, here's 3. 23% have 3 televisions. I'm going to multiply 23% times 275. So I can move my decimal 2 places to the left. So it'll be 0.23. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I'm going to add these together. 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 5, 13. 5 plus 1 is 6. How many decimal places do I have? I have 1, 2. My decimal is going to go right here. So I have 63.25. What am I talking about? They want to know how many students have 3 televisions in their house. Do we have a decimal when we talk about people? No, so I need to round this to the nearest whole number. So the 2 is going to make this, is not going to affect the 3 at all. It's just going to drop off. So this is going to be 63 students. So that's our final answer. Okay, go ahead and pause this and take a moment to copy this down and try your best to solve this on your own. Okay, so Mr. Sudamak earned a 4% commission on the sale of a hot tub that cost $3,755. How much did he earn? So we're going to multiply our number, 3,755, times 4%. So I have to move my decimal 2 places to the left. So that is 0.04. 0.04. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. How many decimal places do I have? I have 2. 1, 2. So 1, 2. So how much did he earn? So he earned $150.20. That's what she earned in commission. Okay, so this is the end of this lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.